The Guru imparted a logical understanding to the disciple, establishing the eternal nature of the soul from verse 62 to this concluding verse 70. Of all the rational solutions given by the Guru, who is the knower of the emergence of the soul? That was a wonderful question. So I said, no, there are more questions than answers here. Then, koi sanyogoti jeni utpatti. If it is not created by any association, there is no reason for its destruction. So, of all the rational solutions given by the Guru, this concluding verse is the pinnacle. The one we'll be studying now, the 70th one. You like the 69th one very much, but the 70th is the peak. You would not want to hear anything more, it seems. So we are going to end the yagna today. How, when the disciple was putting forth his arguments, how convincing it seemed that time. And now, how foolish it seems. This is the grace of the Guru. Vachanamrut is such a powerful means. And he is not even demanding faith. Of course, he is commanding faith. He is not demanding faith because he makes us feel so foolish and our arguments so absurd that we want to respect him. So he commands respect, but he is not demanding respect. He is not saying, believe me. So even we shouldn't be using such words, Either you prove it or accept it. But don't say, believe me. Try to come to Nemiji and say, in your seva, if something happens, you say, Acha, what proof do you have? Believe me, Nemiji. You won't get a slap, of course, because it doesn't slap anyone. But you will get a tight slap. Not physical. Why should I believe you? વચનામૃત પર હાથ મૂકીને કે તું જિંદગીમાં ક્યારેય જુઠ્ઠું બોલી નથી તો માનો તને એ તો તમે મૂકશો નહીં ગીતા ઉપર બી મૂકશો નહીં કુરાન ઉપર બી મૂકશો નહીં વચનામૃત ઉપર બી મૂકશો આપણે તો અહીંયા કોર્ટ ઊભી કરવાની જરૂર નથી પણ કરીએ ને તો આપણે તો કે વચનામૃત પર હાથ રખે બોલો No, he will show, the Sadguru shows the incorrectness in our thinking and in our conclusion and in our judgment regarding person or regarding incident, anything. So many of our instincts intervene in the judgment more than the facts, more than the factual reality. More is our emotions including. If we like the person, we think this way. If we don't like the person, we think this way. So when you think wrong, what feelings did you have for the person are revealed. Okay, acha, you want to conclude this way, so much negativity was already there which you held on to. You understand? So, in this verse 70, drawing the disciples' attention to the universal law of conservation, you can write, law of conservation, accepted by science. I don't know if the last word is, the last verse is as spiritual as it is scientific, or vice versa. It is as scientific as it is spiritual, the last verse. Why? Because it's accepting the law of conservation which is accepted by science. Eager to know what it is? First time science has come with spirituality. And this is again an awesome ability of Bhagavan. Never we have seen is against science. Never said your scientific thinking is totally atheist or foolish. Nothing. He said, tell the science to prove. If any association can create the soul, get me one. Show me. He's never against or opposed science. Challenged in this way that if the science has not proved it, does not mean it cannot be proven. And this is the spiritual angle to the whole thing. So in this verse 70, drawing the disciples' attention to the universal law of conservation, which is accepted by science, applicable to every substance, the Guru skillfully proves that the soul is eternal. Rebutting, or say refuting, the false belief of the Buddhist philosophy of momentariness. He did not say the whole Buddhist philosophy is kachra. Believing in the soul, only momentary, only, you may go wrong. There is something like momentariness can be associated with the soul, but not to its existence, to its states only. So there is nothing against the Buddhist philosophy. If you are talking only about the states, then you are correct. If you are talking about the existence of the soul, then you are mistaken. If you are talking about the existence of the substance is momentary, then you are wrong. But momentariness can be associated with the soul. What is your introspection all about? It is that momentary phase or transitory phase, if not momentary. You're saying that was a bad phase. You said the dark night of the soul. You use different words. So that shows the transitoriness. So when we introspect, we are actually focusing on the momentariness part of the soul. So there's nothing like refuting it. You need to accept that is the first step in Antar Sanchodhan. Paryay Upar Drishti. And then the unchanging, true nature, existentially and essentially. So I have done 1 year on existentialism. 1 year I have done. There is a whole theory of existentialism, especially in France. Sartre and many philosophers. We did philosophers from Denmark, from Netherlands, from France, speaking on existentialism. So both existence and the modifications. Both are the truths, but a partial truth. So when you consider it an absolute truth, you go wrong. So what does the Guru say in this verse? Or say, how does the Guru conclude this whole section?
क्यारे कोई वस्तुनो केवल होय न नाश चेतन पामे नाश तो केमा भळे तपास.
This whole section is about homeworks and questions. You find out, you examine, you ascertain anything. So, kyare koi vastu no, kyare, never, koi vastu, any substance. Never, ever any substance. Ever mad na lagado to never thi jai, obviously, so you can't say never ever. But to understand, I'm saying never any substance, kyare koi vastu nu keval hoy nash. Keval meaning completely, absolutely. Hoy nash. Nash means destruction. So never any substance can be destroyed completely. It can be destroyed in the sense of forms. The old form dies and the new forms assume. That is fine. But absolute destruction of any substance is not possible. This is accepted even by science. And now the homework. Chetan pame nasto, O Shishya, you said the soul dies, the soul gets destroyed. So if the soul is destroyed, Chetan pame nasto, Chetan meaning Atma, if Atma is destroyed, if the soul is destroyed, kema bhale tapas. Tapas. Tapas is the homework. Tapas means find out, explore, examine. Find in what it is transmuted or converted or changed into. No substance can just disappear. This is not Kelal ka magic show. Okay, suddenly it disappears. Even science says nothing, no absolute substance or no natural or no original substance can just disappear. The form can disappear. Now there is nothing like a clock here. So the form can absolutely disappear. But no original substance or no natural substance can completely be destroyed in the sense just disappears or just merges into some other substance and it does not remain. Form, yes. State, yes. But the substance. And if you say, okay, no, Chetan just gets destroyed totally, absolutely, completely. So find in what does it is transmuted, means it's converted. It has merged into what? Find it out. Never any substance can be entirely destroyed into nothing. Suddenly this is there and now there's nothingness. Examine, if the soul is destroyed, what will it get converted into? If consciousness is destroyed, find in what it is transmuted. Simple. So, to clinch his argument, the Guru finally comes up with a truth which is indisputable, meaning accepted by science. You can't oppose it, you can't refute it. And what is that principle? Substance can never be created or destroyed. So we want the latter part. Substance cannot be completely destroyed. First standard science. I learned it in first standard. Big blackboard. And then ઉપર science study start થયું, and the first thing we learned was substance can never be created or destroyed, it only changes its form. પછી આમ 3 લાઈન અમારા ટીચરે બનાવી હતી, solid, liquid and gas. First standard. Were you taught or you were absent? Usually when he doesn't remember, he said, I was absent that day. So, even the most insensate objects don't get completely destroyed. Meaning the matter. Seed turns into saplings. Totally, nothing of a seed is seen now. It is sapling. Means I can say the form is totally destroyed. It is in the form of sapling. After some time, we see the sapling turns into flowers. Nothing of the sapling is seen. Destroyed. It remains in another form, sapling. Now sapling is destroyed, it remains in the form of flowers. Flowers destroyed, it remains in the form of fruits. Fruits destroyed, it remains in the form of seeds. See, back to seed. Seed, sapling, flowers, fruits, seed. So even the most insensate objects never get destroyed. You feel the fruit is destroyed, you feel the flower is destroyed, you feel the seed is destroyed, the sapling is destroyed, but it does remain in some other form. So what you are saying is the form is destroyed, not the substance. The substance remains. The form is destroyed. This is accepted by science because we've been taught in our schools. Substance can never be destroyed. We don't need created here. So creation part is over. So substance can never be destroyed. But it can change its forms. So substance, as seen from the point of state, does not remain the same permanently. From the viewpoint of the state, it modifies from seed to sapling to flowers to fruit to seed, and the whole cycle again. So the Guru only wants to say all things meaning all substances changes its form but remains forever. Substance remains all substance. Now we just need to ask, if all substance remain forever, why not the soul? Simple as that. Science accepts if there is a substance, substance changes its form but remains forever. Now the simple question, if this is the case with mere matter, solid, liquid, gas, etc., then something far superior than matter, what is it? Consciousness. Far superior. And we can recollect the Kavitha Prasang of Param Kripaludev. When he went to a school and there were so many kids there, and he asked a question, Ek Hatma Chash, Bija Hatma Ghee. And if you say you're knocked down and you can only save one, what would you say? Why? Why Shivani? Why ghee? When chas is so soothing, why ghee? I'll tell you how to say. Because ghee is far more superior. I gave this dristant, this example, when I use the word consciousness is far more superior a substance than mere matter. So for matter, if you are saying it can never be destroyed completely, absolutely, it will always remain forever, though it changes its forms. So if you are accepting this for such an inferior substance like matter, which is unconscious, it has to be true for something far more superior, that being consciousness or the substance, if you say, the soul. So how nice. If matter is indestructible, equally conscious substance also are indestructible. So actually, if he had given this one verse only, khotu mode karai wo baddu. So scientific, right? You only need to believe that soul is a substance. But that you already said, no? Okay, it seems possible in verse 59. So I don't need to go back to that. Whether soul as a conscious substance exists or it doesn't exist, because that is already over. So I won't now go to prove that soul is a substance, and if it's a substance, all substances don't get destroyed, so even the soul will not get destroyed. So soul is permanent, therefore soul is eternal. You already accepted the existence of the soul as a substance which is having the attribute of not knowingness. Now I'm born. Consciousness. Yeah. Why don't you experience a little bit? Khali આ તો બધું knowledge છે. This is just like a foam. You need to experience the essence. Depth. Param Kripaludev says this whole Atma Siddhi is the form of my existence. Nothing, it's just words expressed. How will I take you to the realm of experience? And that is by your eagerness, by your inclination to touch the still center within. You don't need to cultivate the soul. Cultivate the mind, I agree. But not cultivate the soul. So soul is pure in its inner nature. Pure, peaceful and powerful. It is now. Now it is pure, peaceful and powerful. You just need your mind to become still and you experience it. So nothing, not so difficult at all. कोई साथ तो आपो? Yes, not difficult. બેસાડો બધાને 2-3 કલાક ધ્યાનમાં. I'm going to take one meditation shibir with the kids before they leave. Yeah, with all આ બધી છોકરીઓ નાની હા. I will take it personally with them in the mornings. They'll get up very early. By 8 o'clock they'll get up. And we'll start the bhatti from 9 to 11:30. Let them learn the art of experiencing what was so wonderful when heard in the discourses. So, the Guru now turns to a scientific truth. All the lovers of science, wake up. So what does the law of conservation state say? State I don't want to use because I'll be using the word state. So what does the law of conservation of science say? It says, nothing that exists can be completely destroyed. That is the law of conservation. Nothing which is existing can be entirely destroyed. It cannot. Then why are you using the word entirely? Why? Because it does change its forms or states. Modifications, as you said, modifies. So when you see the modification, you might not see the old form. You may say that it's completely destroyed. But what is completely destroyed? The form, the state, and not the substance. The substance cannot be entirely destroyed. Very clear? So, what is the nature of a substance? I'm saying substance in general. May it be matter or may it be the conscious soul. Anything. It applies to both. Only those principles are called scientific principles, which apply to people living in America and here, 5,000 years ago, and who are existing now, who are present now. So you will say they are universal, they are eternal. Science is eternal. Scientific principles are eternal, they are universal, apply to all, every time, everyone. So what does it say? While retaining its existence, the substance gives up the old form, assumes a new form. Vyaya utpada in the Jain terminology. But maintaining its existence, it gives up the old form and assumes a new form, thereby modifying what? The state of the soul, but the substance remains ever. This is a scientific principle. Since the disciple had contended that the soul cannot be everlasting, so he said, that means you don't believe the soul is a substance. Because if it is a substance, the scientific principle says that no substance can be destroyed entirely. Absolutely. It cannot just disappear, it cannot just vanish. Only the old forms are given up and new forms are assumed. So when you give up, you say destroy. When you assume a form, you say you created. And then you became the creator. And then the ego. But this is the nature of the substance. This is the nature of the substance to undergo change every moment, meaning destruction of the old form, creation of the new form, this is the nature of the substance. તો આ મા બાપ કેમ કહેતા હશે કે અમે છોકરાઓને મોટા કર્યા? It's the nature of the substance, Varshabin. It's the nature of the substance of Mansi's body and Mansi's soul. બંનેનો આ nature છે. So what have you done? Nothing. Nothing. See how beautifully, if you understand the spiritual significance of this principle, so the doership, and with the doership goes away. And so the next 71, he start with the doership principle. Soul is the doer, etc. Just see the connection. Because nothing, when the substance is just in its own nature, if it gives us up an old form and assumes a new form, and if you think the old form is completely destroyed, I agree. If you say form, I agree. If you say substance is destroyed, I don't agree. And this is the discriminative knowledge. જેટલું body and soul માટે એવી તેજ existence of a substance and the forms. That is also a Vednan. Dravya Paryay Vednan. This is just a Paryay. And I am the Shuddha Dravya. I am the pure soul. And this is just a temporary state or phase of anger passing through it. And I am a pure soul. And the moment you realize this, your anger starts declining. Got it? So the Vednan is so important. Okay. So that fellow, the disciple, had contended that the soul is not everlasting. And Guru points out, as a substance, the soul cannot be destroyed. If I have to agree to you that the soul is not everlasting, then I will say from the viewpoint of the state. But if you are saying it existentially, it gets destroyed, then I don't agree to you. See, agree and disagree. Now you choose. If disagreeing creates ego and anger, then just change your viewpoint and start agreeing. If your disagreeing does not create that anger and ego in you, then see that the other person starts seeing from your viewpoint. Because he is right in his viewpoint. Maybe his way of expressing it is wrong, but the viewpoint is right. So if you want to agree, you go and see from his viewpoint. If you want to disagree or make him agree, convince him to see from your viewpoint. Convince. This flexibility of mind is necessary. Flexibility of the mind. Flexibility of the mind meaning the water takes the shape of the vessel in it goes. It's so flexible. Why aren't we? કેટલાકના નેચર જુદા હોય પણ જો આપનામાં ફ્લેક્સિબિલિટી હોય તો આપણે બધા સાથે ફાવે. And then you can say કોઈ શત્રુ નથી, કોઈ મિત્ર નથી, that apurva thing will come in you. That sambhav will come in you. There is no one with whom I totally agree or totally disagree. I am flexible. I don't want to be agitated, and that is the only sadhana. That is the only truth I want to cling to. I don't want to get frustrated. I don't want to get agitated. So either convince that other person lovingly, you can't catch his neck and say, get convinced. Lovingly to see from viewpoint, or you start seeing from his viewpoint, see, be on one page. Be on the same boat. How can you travel with someone like your one leg is in this boat and the other leg is... No, it's not possible. You both have to be in the same boat. So it's just changing of gears, changing of viewpoints. So simple. That is all Jainism about. This Dravya Nitya che Paryaya Palta is a little metaphysical. And Param Kripadev has taught us the spiritual significance of all these principles. How will this principle help you? How this understanding of Anekantvad will help you to remain in Sambhav, equanimous state. So Guru does not shout at him. Guru says, find out. Tapas, check, find out, explore, and then decide. Okay, if you are saying soul is not everlasting, so what happens to the soul when it gets destroyed? Which it doesn't. Completely, existentially. He is actually using a sweet word, tapas, but he is actually challenging the disciple. You have to understand the He's saying, find out for yourself, but just see the mudra. You are not going to find. So his challenging is so steadfast in the truth by experience. So he's challenging the disciple to find out any non-sentient transformation of the sentient soul which he can imagine. Forget giving an evidence also. Out of imagination, you tell me, Chad. You don't need to go to the lab or you don't need to go to the market and provide me with that stuff and say, see, the soul got destroyed and now it's in, you can't say form, because form I agree. The substance is entirely destroyed and now the conscious substance has been destroyed and has become non-sentient. Find out. I'm challenging you. But see the beauty of the word, tapas. To check kari le jara. Dr. Mansi, please check before concluding that the soul is not everlasting. Please check and tell me what happens to the soul when it gets destroyed. Does it get merged into Jad Dravya or it just disappears? Vanishes into nothing. Nothing. Hatu ne nathi. You understand? Okay. So, no substance is completely destroyed according to science. According to science. Why science? Even our experience. Even our experience. We are not scientists like Mr. Alok. He always says, I'm a scientist, I'm a scientist. This is the gesture you make every time. Facial gesture. મેં તો આ સાલો સાયન્ટિસ્ટ મર્યો નથી એને સીધો કરવો પડશે આમ કે આઈ વોઝ આઈ એમ અ સાયન્ટિસ્ટ બોલે તારે એમ લાગે કે ઓહો આત્મજ્ઞાની બનીએ કે ન બનીએ એકવાર સાયન્ટિસ્ટ તો બની જ છે એનો રૂઆબ તો જો કેવો છે So why? I don't have a buddhi of a scientist, but I have experience. A clay pot, we have experience rather. A clay pot, have you seen a clay pot breaking? You've seen? That's like mangao ek pot. If I can call for a grinding stone, I can ask for a pot also. So pot, a clay pot breaks. What is destroyed? I'm asking what is destroyed and what is not destroyed. Pot means what I'm saying, a pot is destroyed. Form, shape, simple word. That shape is destroyed, maybe forever. And the clay is there in some other form. It's not destroyed. So you see, something gets destroyed, and you can use the word completely also if you want. And for some, you will say, no, it's not destroyed. It is in other form, meaning the substance, the clay here, is present. If the particles of clay, which were in the form or shape of the pot, is completely destroyed, but the clay is not destroyed, even after it not remaining in the shape of the pot. Dramatic થઈ ગયું થોડું? Oh. It's not in the shape of the pot. It is now separated. It's no more in the shape of the pot. Still, you cannot say it's completely destroyed because the pot just didn't vanish. This is our experience. Not the scientist's experience only, it's our experience. We are art students, so art students also experience this. Because something is there, and we say, okay, whatever, this part is in this form, this part is in this form. So, in the world, pot breaks into shard, cloth tears into pieces, or you can say threads, building collapses into rubble, right? But a substance is destroyed only in its forms. It is not completely destroyed. Why? Because an original substance can never be destroyed. It's over. Now let's just talk about the soul for 2 minutes, and that's all. Done. If you are clear that no substance, no original substance can be completely destroyed, but its forms can be, its shape can be completely destroyed, you can say, but it remains in some other form, but it exists. It cannot be completely destroyed. And if soul is a substance, or soul is a substance. Now if you say if, I'll punish you, listen to the first fundamental truth 10 times. You agree? He agrees. So, if the soul is a substance, it means the soul being a conscious substance also will not get destroyed. And so, the disciple is asked to examine that if it gets destroyed, show me in what does it get converted into. Show me in what it gets transmuted or converted. So, and then decide for yourself, the soul being an original substance, a natural substance, will never be destroyed. It is eternal. If you say the original substance of what the clock is just a form, will not be destroyed. I am not saying the clock will not be destroyed. The original substance of which the clock is just a form will never be destroyed. Then why do you want to destroy the soul, O Shishya? For such a mere material substance, if you are ready to accept its eternal existence, I'm not saying the form, but we perceive the form, and that is the whole problem, jud of the problem, root. Okay, what he perceives, he doesn't perceive the original substance. He's just looking at the form and he's seeing the form getting destroyed. So this contention that substances, or say the soul, is not everlasting. If he sees it as the dravya, and if his drashti is on the dravya drashti, not the paryay drashti, then his thinking, his feeling, his inner state completely changes. Let's sing.
क्यारे कोई वस्तु नो केवल होय न नाश, चेतन पामे नाश तो केमा भड़े तपा।